Hello and welcome to another episode of World of Warships with your host, Czar Peppers. Today, we're taking a look at the rank battles in World of Warships. And we're in the Cleveland Light American Cruiser, which is a fan favorite, I suppose, of the series. Not of fans of me. All like 14 of them. But I'm very appreciative of all. To be honest, I sort of do this for fun more than anything else. If it catches on, awesome. If it doesn't, that's alright. But I think it's pretty cool, even getting 100 people to see a video. I mean, you picture a room full of 100 people, and that's pretty impressive. Anyways, back to this. Alright, we have engaged in contact with the enemy. Our plan on this map was to go for C and for the destroyer to go get B, and for the moment it's not looking great. I mean, they've got pretty good shots on our entire fleet as we come in here to try and cap C. Oh. Come on, guns. I believe that is the Japanese heavy cruiser. Now, the Cleveland class of cruisers was actually the most numerous class of cruiser ever built, with 52 ordered and 29 completed as cruisers, and 9 of them as the Independence class light carriers. Fast carriers, whatever you call them. It was originally designed within the limitations of the 1936 London Naval Treaty, but I believe in the end it eventually exceeded them. They had a lot of trouble trying to fit all those guns within 8,000 tons displacement. Okay, now we got some good hits on that Japanese cruiser. This is the tier... what is it, tier 6? I forget what the Cleveland... yeah, Cleveland's tier 5, that's tier 6. Tier 6 Japanese heavy cruiser. Now we've scored, actually we've done some pretty good Citadel hits on that other cruiser we were engaged with earlier. We are in the process of taking C. Scores are still favor the enemy. We just lost one of our ships. Further disadvantage. Now I know if I keep going that way, I'm just going to go further and further into their firing range and be easier and easier to hit, so I need to turn around and try and see if I could finish capping, because I find one thing you learn pretty quick in the ranked matches is capping is more important than it is in random battles. I find got a lot of incoming fire, evasive maneuvers. But I'm trying to keep my ship angled to as many of the ships throwing fire at me as possible. That was a bit crap. These ones should be alright. We're firing armor piercing. Looks like he's firing HE. Okay, I need to start maneuvering a bit more. Okay, well, I can't fire on him anymore. And we still haven't capped. Oh, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's pretty close. Okay, we got 4,000 health. And we are winning now, a little bit. Now this guy's going to be a quick kill. He's on next to no health. One barrage should finish the job. And there he goes. Now, let's go behind this island. Oh, enemy destroyer. That could be... what is that? At least it's on an American destroyer. On 1,000 health. He's going to be cutting it close. Now, the first use of the Cleveland class cruisers in combat was Operation Torch, the Allied invasion of North Africa, but primarily it was used in the Pacific against the Japanese. Okay, I need to turn tight against this island because I know he might throw his torpedoes at me. Don't see any yet. See if we can get a few shots on him. Very nice. Okay, we have torpedoes, but they are not a threat. Out of view range. 700 health. We're winning 500 to 122. Now, maybe you went wondering what the difference is in the ranked matches. Well, there's a lot less people in them. The composition, I think, more accurately reflects what an actual fleet would look like. Usually 2 battleships, 3 or 4 cruisers, and a couple destroyers. This guy's almost done with. My friend can finish him off right there, so I don't have to worry about losing my 700 health. And we've managed to capture all the capture points. All things are looking pretty good. Not an insanely great match for us. So you got 1 kill, about, what is that?
Our victory is in sight.
60 hits? 4 citadels? That's pretty good. And some capture points. Now, I've really been loving the ranked games. I find... I was fighting in the random battles. I was really starting to get sick of this game because the teams are really hit and miss. But in the ranked battles, people are a lot better with working together and coordinating the team effort. So I've been really enjoying them. It's sort of hard to go back to the random battles, but I still need to level up some other classes of ship. Now we're at level 20. Wonderful. And for reaching a new level, you get a whole bunch of new signal flags for you to use, which is always handy. Alright, now we're moving into a random battle with the Japanese heavy cruiser let me get my notes. Furutaka. Fingers crossed that's correct. It was a class of high-speed heavy cruiser developed by the Imperial Japanese to counter the Omaha-class American cruisers and the British Hawkins class cruisers. Interestingly enough, the armor was actually built into the structure of the ship in order to save weight. And it's one of the first Japanese ships in general that actually has a proper bridge. I've always thought playing the other earlier tier Japanese ships, it would be rather uncomfortable being at the helm of one of these things during a storm or something. Or maybe they had an internal command thing, like in Battlestar Galactica, where you had the command room right in the dead center of the ship. I always thought having the bridge probably on the weakest area of the ship is not the greatest idea, but I suppose the visibility makes up for it. And I think in newer ships they don't do that anymore. They're actually commanded from the armored portion of the vessel. Now we're moving out here to try and hold them off on the flank while our team, the majority of our team, pushes through the other way. And that's alright. I find it's not a good idea to do an even 50-50 split between your 2 flanks. It's best to do like a quarter and then 3/4. Because one side only really needs to hold them off while the other needs to push through and get to that capture point. Alright, we've got a Kuma. Get some good hits onto that. Well, yeah, Citadel hit. A little destroyer friend is going in front. I've got a really good, in a very good position to fire on him. I'm angling myself towards him a little bit just to help out a bit. We have torpedo bombers coming in. Want to be mindful of that. Also have a battleship that's going to be coming into firing range pretty soon, if not already, and throw off a few torpedoes at him. I really should have saved the torpedoes for this guy, but hindsight is awesome. That was a bit of a cock-up. Is that a Phoenix? I think it's an Omaha. Still have a torpedo on the other side, but I don't want to have to turn my guns all the way around because the guns are crazy slow on this thing. So let's just throw those 200mm shells into him. We have a battleship going head first into this guy. There's the torpedoes. They're not going to be an issue for me. Now that battleship can probably fire on me now, so I've got to be careful of that. I want to do sort of a tactical retreat. Now the only really notable engagement I found these things were involved with was during the Guadalcanal campaign, when an American heavy cruiser force detected the Japanese fleet, including the ship Furutaka, and managed to successfully cross their T. Now the Japanese fleet thought that they were being fired on by friendlies, so they turned broadside towards the Americans so they could see the silhouettes of their ship. However, they soon realized that they weren't friendlies. The Furutaka itself took 90 hits from shells, some which ignited her torpedo tubes, which was one design flaw of the ship, was the positioning of its torpedo tubes. She eventually capsized stern first, and 514 survivors were picked up by a number of Japanese destroyers afterwards. The captain, or the commander of the ship, Admiral Moto, was mortally wounded, as I'm sure the commander of my Furutaka was just mortally wounded by that massive barrage from the battleship. So now it's time to go back into tactical retreat. I want to focus on this destroyer because he's getting pretty close to the cap circle, and he's in torpedo range of that friendly cruiser. Health almost down. He's dropped his smoke screen, but he's moving too fast still. Oh no, he's slowed down. Oh no, not enough. There we go. Blind shot. The enemy team has a slight advantage right... Oh no, the advantage has gone to us now. Alright, we need to turn around and try and continue slowing down these enemy battleships coming in. Now I realize going up against two battleships isn't exactly the wisest idea in this thing, but what other choice do I have right now? I want to buy as much time as possible for my team to come around the other side and get into their cap circle. There's another barrage from that battleship. Didn't take too much damage from it. Angling myself. We're not within firing range. Okay, he's within firing range, so let's get some HE shells out at him. Some decent hits on the rear of the ship, set on fire. You know, it's pretty amazing that the real Furutaka took 90 hits before it eventually sank. Which is really it. I find with this thing, you have to play it almost as a battleship in some ways. Just because of its slow reload rate and high caliber of gun. I guess you sort of play it as like a battle cruiser, almost. I hope they introduce battle cruisers into the game eventually. Stuff like the HMS Hood, lightly armored battleships. Although how I'm playing this ship in this match is hardly how I would ideally play it in other circumstances. I would prefer to stick around battleships, so they're primarily firing on him and I can just put in a little supporting fire, but there aren't any battleships around here, at least not any in a position to really help, and we still need to slow them down, so I just need to do sort of hit and run attacks, try and set these guys on fire so they continually burn as they advance, and then they're easier to take out once they get here. Looks like we get some shots off on this guy now. Still firing HE right now. Might be able to get, at this kind of range with the armor piercing, I might be able to penetrate the battleships actually. As long as it's plunging fire. If I'm firing at their belt armor, their side armor, it's pretty pointless. We're pretty low on health. I think it's 6,000. One good barrage from one of these things will take me out, so I don't really want to get any closer than, let's say, 11 kilometers. Because I know there's been plenty of times when I've caught cruisers at that kind of range in a battleship and I've taken them out with one barrage. So I'm continually going inwards at an angle and then pulling back at an angle. Nice. One more battleship down. Alright, now we'll turn around and see if we can deal with this one last cruiser heading over this way. Looks like our other teammates, we have a friendly destroyer on the edge of the cap circle right now. A few planes scouting their cap, and a couple of our friendly battleships are heading over there at full speed, I presume. So we just need to try and take out this guy. I don't think those were aimed very well. So I've been hearing there's quite a bit of controversy over the fact that they're going to be adding the Soviet ships before they add the Royal Navy. Well, I do find that rather disappointing, but to be honest, I'm going to look at the bright side of this and think it would be cool to use some of the Russian ships. I had looked them up and there were some pretty interesting ones. I mean, they didn't really engage in any action during, or much action during either of the wars, and most of the time the Russians were the ones sinking their own ships, mainly because the regime in power was rather suspicious of the Navy. Okay, we're not in a great position. That guy's at really high health and we're at very low health and he's very close. This might end like it might end like its real world counterpart. But hell, we're gonna get some good hits on this guy. Got to avoid these torpedoes, put out those fires. Is he gonna beach? Yes, he's beached. But I really gotta focus on avoiding these things. Be able to get some good shots in as he backs up slowly. But we're not at a very good angle for our guns right now, and I don't want to... I want to keep bouncing as many of these shots as I possibly can. Admiral Moto, wish me luck.
Fighter ready for takeoff.
We gotta get out of here. That's what we need to put space between us and him. But at what, 800 health? I'm not sure that's gonna happen. Evasive maneuvers. Well, we had a good fight. We had a good run. Look at her slip beneath the endless blue, vast expanse, sinking into the abyss. As her mast slips under, all goes silent. But all things considering, we actually did pretty well, and we made top of our team, and comparing my score to the other team too, I'm not too far off from their leader too, so I'm going to say that was a successful game.